Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably.
Welcome back to the Onetribe Podcast. We're back. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a giggle because I'm controlling the board this morning and I almost fucked that one up. So welcome back to the Onetribe Podcast. And we're back in Raw Coffee Company and we are... Well, I'm recovering from the weekend, boys. How's everyone going from the weekend?
Yeah, my weekend was pretty cash.
Yeah.
Nothing too exciting. Bit of a swim, bit of a feed. That's about it.
Jace, I know you went on a bit of a adventure to Jurassic Park. That was very funny, bro.
We went to Jurassic Park and back, and we went to Salt Lakes, basically. My suggestion would be...
Sodium City.
It's not worth the journey, as suggested by a few local media outlets. It was a hike and a half.
I don't know if anyone watches Bloke Stories on the weekend. I was out at the Sevens watching it, pissing myself, because it literally looked like you ended up in the back of Alcoos after it rained in some shithole. Very, very funny.
So basically it was a typical, I mean, it's fitting for today's topic. It was a typical social media illusion. The picture looked picture perfect on IG, but if you need the perfect angle, if you put your head up out of that camera lens, there it is waste, dirt, rubbish, an absolute mess. So do not go check that. Don't expect much.
I like how he put it up on his green screen and he was like, oh, this is what it should be looking like.
The green screen was better than the real shot. So there you go. How was the footy?
Yeah, the footy was, mate, I'm feeling my age today, definitely. So rugby sevens was good. It was a good vibe though, too, like being back out there playing and just the vibe of the city. It was like it was normal. There was nothing going on in the world. It was nice to just feel a bit of normality again, coming back after 2 years,
empty Heineken cans.
Yeah. Empty Heineken cans, empty souls.
How many Summersbys you can stash up in your bum bag over the weekend?
But it was good. It was nice being back, and I think everyone who went, like even spectators and stuff, enjoyed the weekend because it was just a bit of normality back. But let's introduce our rose between three thorns, I guess.
Three pricks.
Three pricks. Miss Sabina, how are you, darling? Nice to have you on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate the invite. I'm really excited to talk to you in the next hour or so. So you want to introduce myself or?
Yeah, no, go for it. So I'll tell you how we got her on the podcast. I ran into her on Friday evening at the Sevens, and we know each other. We have a mutual friend that I used to train, and then that is her best friend. Basically, we got on to this topic at the Sevens, and I was like, look, I think you'd be a good guest. You're one of my female friends, and we need a female angle from this because we have been criticised of. Well, I have been criticised.
Don't throw us in into your mess,
mate. Bring him in.
For bashing women on this podcast, not like directly, but I think maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's nice to have you and give us your perspective on today's topic. But yeah, give me a bit of a background. So we were just talking off air. You've been in Dubai for 4 years. You currently, before that, lived in Ireland for
7 years.
7 years,
yeah, that's correct.
And give me a rundown. You are a international competitor and almost Olympian, right? I could say that? Almost?
Almost,
We'll
yeah. I
almost.
did a European qualifier for the Rio Olympics back in the time, like in Irish colour, because I used to live in Ireland for like 7 years, but I also represented Hungary because that's where I'm originally from, actually.
Right. So the accent is Hungarian, not Irish.
And tell us what sport.
A mix of Dubai.
Tell us what sport.
So I'm a fencing coach, actually.
Yeah,
I'm a fitness and fencing coach, yeah.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Wow.
So if you've never met a fencer before, this is what they look like.
They look different to the Aussie fencers.
Yeah.
You know.
Much different.
This is what they look like without a mask, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can never tell who's underneath, can you?
Yeah.
The only fences I knew back in Sydney was the ones I used to jump. So the TV under my arm. So like you've been now living in Dubai for 4 years. You're a PT coach, fencing coach. Tell me how your last 4 years has been. Like, has it been exciting? Are you growing? Like, has it been hard? What's the backstory with you and Dubai?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey the last 4 years. As for everybody else, the first 2 years was quite hard, like settling down. I started with a PT company. My salary wasn't that great, obviously, so I was just trying to make a living, obviously, but I definitely feel like since the last 4 years, I was growing every single year. The pandemic part was a bit hard for me like for everybody else, but I think I coped with it quite well. I actually opened my own business, and now I'm independent, so standing on my own foot.
That's good.
So,
Congratulations,
well done.
man. Congratulations. That is good. You know, like it's funny that you just touched on that. Is that I think a lot of our colleagues in this industry that we know, long term, short term, the pandemic did some big things for our industry in terms of I think it made people realise that you need to stand on your own 2 feet, like you just said, and you know, being out there and going and chasing your dream, or you're chasing your goals, matters now, especially when we were sitting on our asses for, you know, how long? I don't know, 3-4 months.
It was a while.
Yeah, it was probably you'd probably say a good 6 months.
Yeah, like before things got normal. So I think everyone like that I know, in the circles that we keep, have come out pretty good, especially in this industry. Like, it's always going to be a harder industry than most, but yeah, I think, you know, it's a credit.
It certainly made us appreciate what we do a lot more.
Absolutely.
How we can't just rest on those laurels, and, you know, sort of forced us to up the game and step it up, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And those that did are still doing it now. Those that didn't aren't with us anymore. You know?
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, this whole platform wouldn't have started if I didn't have time to sit down and sort of make things happen independent. This is when I started it.
Yeah.
I actually started with the first episode was about my case of Corona when I had it, but then I went the second episode, which is on our channel.
When you shut the whole gym down.
Yeah. But it was about the mental health side of it, like what it faced, you know what I mean? So like that and I think, you know, this is with you boys on it now. It's definitely gaining traction. You know what I mean? Which is, and we appreciate it, guys. I met a heap of people on the weekend, which I was telling the boys that are fans of the channel, fans of the boys, fans of the boy.
Wow.
I'm not leaving you out, bro.
That's all right.
And yeah, no, we appreciate it because you know, Ty gets his DMs full with just people who actually listen to it, and it's amazing. I've got the regulars who just put shit on it, and yeah, Jace,
they're putting shit on you. They're not putting shit on the podcast.
Yeah. No, but like we do appreciate it. So thank you.
We're starting to get out there. So
yeah, no, and that's what we want to just keep doing is bringing the community around us on and to talk about things that matter, like, you know, things that are raw, real, and sort of now. So that's the whole slogan. So let's get into today's topic, and the reason why we've got 4 of us today is we're talking about social media and the way it can alter our behaviours as human beings. You know, me and you spoke on Friday night about this, and it's got different areas. It's got different leverage points on how people use social media, what they use social media for. But obviously, I think the 4 of us came into, and definitely you did, right? Only because you're a little bit older than us. Is that social media? We got into it through our careers halfway. It wasn't.
I've only had social media since I got to Dubai.
Right.
I never had it before Dubai.
Yeah.
And I only did it. I mean,
I swear I've got you on my MySpace from.
No, I only started social media when I got here. Instagram for work, and Facebook to keep in touch with people back home.
Yeah,
that's it. So I'm relatively new to it, and probably only in the last, I would say, 12 months, actually since the pandemic, when we sort of had to level up with our businesses and do sorts of things, is when I really upped the game with
started
Instagram,
taking it serious. Yeah,
started taking it really seriously. So probably those last 12 months really prevalent on Instagram.
Well, let's touch on that. Let's touch on that because let's talk about how we as trainers, coaches, business owners use it, and then we'll channel into the other topics off that. So start on this side, Jace. I know you heavily you use it every day, just like I do. But you've got a different like sort of aspect to it. You keep your life, your work life, some personal stuff.
Yeah.
It's all off the one feed, off the one channel.
Yeah.
I know you've got your work page as well, but predominantly everyone knows you from your own personal
yeah, for
page,
sure.
right?
Like, I mean, it was when I first started in the industry, I'd always had my own personal social media. I think I grew up, you know, with the development of Instagram. I did manage to catch the back end of MSN, etc.
Yep.
But I was kind of in I'll probably say the last phase of just newly being introduced to IG, etc. And I was struggling to find like what I wanted to kind of share with people on there initially, especially when my business started to become, you know, my bread and butter, and that was my main focus, health and fitness coaching. A lot of people would suggest just to post fitness content, but I always found that people were much more open and comfortable to relate to me as a person and what I'd offer just outside of coaching and fitness, and that was a really good stepping stone or a way to break the ice for these people to get in touch. The amount of people that said, oh, you like off-roading, or you've got nice dogs, or then they'd kind of touched. Then it would lead them into talking to me about something they're a little less comfortable about, which would be, you know, their insecurities or their lack of health and fitness, and, you know, they wanted to lose weight, etc. So for me, I've always tried to keep it about my life without trying to like have like too much of a showboat aspect to it, but
oversell it.
Oversell it. You can see throughout my life how it's transitioned. In my single times, I was more focused on my training. Then obviously, you know, got my dog, met Sarah, actually in the opposite order, so I'm going to get in trouble for that. Met Sarah, then we got a dog. But you can kind of see the transitions in my life on there, and I think for a lot of people that's quite important. But yeah, I mean, and I do have a love and hate relationship with Instagram. Some days I'm just like, I want to be that nomad that has no internet connection and who doesn't kind of follow the norms of society, and I'd love to just be out in the wild, out adventuring with my dogs, with the missus. She wouldn't come though, that's for sure, but like I like that element of it too. I think social media is over consuming for us, but it does have such like a unique power as well, which I think we've all probably experienced at some points, but it's a double-edged sword. Mind the pun today.
Guys,
the fencing pun.
That was a good one, yeah.
Thanks.
But
well, actually, I know this is a total side note. Is the whole thing sharp?
No, it's not.
Blade?
No,
it's not sharp at all. Is it just
it's
the point,
very
right?
light weapon. It's basically like 1 kg heavy, so it's like
so
very
it's just
light.
The tip
yeah,
that's
but you can spank someone hard if you want to.
Noted. We'll keep that in mind.
we're going fence next week.
I jumped the fence on topics, but I was curious because I never actually knew. Was the whole blade of the fencing sword? It's called a sword?
I didn't know what the fuck you were talking
so
about.
they call it like there are 3 different weapon styles. So there is foil, épée, and saber. Like the 2 of them like poking. Like basically you have to thrust with the weapon.
Okay, yep.
And 2 of them just like kind of slashing and hit.
Okay.
So I do the slashing and the hit one the fast.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. I honestly never knew any of that. I thought that rolled in perfectly.
I know Nigel and Jason like to play swords.
No, I'm just sitting here going, there's so many innuendos, poking, slashing. Anyway.
Sword fights.
Hopefully I'm not turning red right now, but I'm sure I do.
Right,
all right,
Sabina, so
yeah.
You, by the way, just go back to, Jace actually does love his wife. Like, fuck, she gets a fucking kick in the ribs every time I get on.
Curious about the
You know,
sword.
it's the only way Sarah will listen.
okay.
If I mention her enough, she actually puts it on and listens to it.
And she ticks out how many mentions? 1,
Yeah.
2.
Right, Sabina, tell me about your relationship with your social media work, how you use it, and you know why you use it for either personal use as work use. Like, what's your relationship with it in terms of building your network?
Yeah, so pretty much the same. I have a love and hate relationship with it. I don't use it so much for advertisement and promotion myself, but I use it for personal reasons, like keep in touch with people, motivation. I follow mostly like fitness people and people I'm interested about, basically. Yeah, and just like pretty much trying to give my clients motivation as well every day, like sharing what I'm eating, sharing what activities I do on the weekend, sharing my training sometimes. So I don't really put much educational stuff up there because I think it's like already so many out there. So I feel like I just really want to be real there and like show people my real side and my real life, right?
Yep.
So pretty much that's it.
It's a funny one because, like, you know, I think all of us intend to use it for the same purposes. Obviously, it's funny because me and you are very similar. We've got our work one and we've got our personal one. My personal one gets more traction than my work one does. My work one's more important. My personal one could get closed down tomorrow. I wouldn't give a flying fuck, as much as probably people think that just because of the content I put out. I don't care, man. It's a bit of fun for me. But like, yes, my work one is where that's my storyboard of my whole 15-year journey here in Dubai. People I've worked with in the past, people I'm working with currently, some of the stories on there, the photos. So it is dangerous as well, because what if one day Instagram or Facebook decide to go no more? That's like 15 years worth of content, photos that I don't really keep as a backup. Never.
No.
Right? I don't think many people
I've had this thought as well.
What happens, you know, and
losing all your contacts, for example, because now we rarely know each other's phone numbers. So it happened to me, actually. I went to Ireland and I was about to catch up with a good friend of mine, and that was a time when Instagram, like everything shut it down, WhatsApp, and I didn't have her phone number. So we were about to meet up, but I couldn't call her because we were messaging on Instagram.
Well, that's weird. Me and you, since Friday, about this, was on Instagram. I have your number. And last night I went to message you, and I'm like, fuck, where is it? So I just hit you up on Instagram saying 10:30 or whatever.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're right. I mean, we're using that now as a contact field as well. You know what I mean?
I think it's this disposable culture that we're in. You know, we put up a bit of content, and it's important to us for 1 day, 2 days, until the next bit of content goes up.
Yes, you say that, and I like that you've hit that angle, because again, you've come into it sort of later than us, right? Now, your thoughts on that, because I know you're very good. You use it for work. It's not really.
Yeah, 90% of it for me is for work.
Yeah. Now, let's go into the segue of this next part. Is that right? So we all know why we use it. It's pretty much to build our profile, either work-wise, as an independent, whatever it is. We're building profiles through it. Now, you use it for work. As I said, you've stepped into it a little bit later than us. Now, we are seeing this trend on social media that, and I used this analogy this morning in the gym. I was like, before, like back in the day when we were at school, it's like you could go to school and be bullied, right? And you could also go home, and that's when the bullying would stop, once you're home. Now, people like you to your face, and then you see it, and then you go home, you don't see it. So it's sort of you get that space. And I know that's a different topic altogether, you know, the online bullying, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that now we are taking our work home. Now, like I'm sure with a lot of us, we've got transformation photos from clients, this, that, the other. I know that in personal life, I have heard people say about a certain transformation or whatever that, that wasn't much of a transformation. To me, that doesn't matter. They don't know the journey that person's gone through, and it shouldn't matter to that person, but it might. If that ever got out, or those words got out to that person, that could destroy someone.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So now we're looking at this from an aspect is that we are taking these things and these comments and likes way, way too serious, and we're taking it to heart. So let's touch on the likes side of it. So we see it. I know I've been through it. I'm a culprit of it, because I guess you can't help it. But you know, you put up a photo and it gets 70 likes. You put up another photo and it gets 150 likes, and you're like, and listen, I know 10 people out of that 70 that liked it or whatever. So then it gets to you and you're like, why didn't it make the same numbers as that like? What's the theory behind that? What are you guys' thoughts behind that whole validation side?
I think exactly that word you said is a validation, and it depends on why you're putting up your content as well. Are you putting up a piece of content because you're actively seeking people to like that piece of content off its face value, or do you want people, or you're putting up a piece of content that you've put 20 minutes work into, and your craft and that sort of stuff, and you've done an infographic and you've given some actual information there, and you want it to be of value? Is that why you want people to like it? So it depends on, I think from my side of view, it's why are you putting up the content? What do you want from the content? like we've said this before, as a business person, likes aren't paying for shit. You know, I'm doing it because I want one person to like it and then maybe use it and then get back to me and say, oh, that info that you gave out last week, I've used that and actually it was really, really helpful. Great. That you know, that's better to me than getting 100 likes of people that just like it for the sake of it.
And obviously, again, that's why you differ. You run your page based on your work.
Yeah,
right? That's your work. You don't really put personal stuff up.
The only thing I'll do personally on there is on stories.
Stories, yeah.
And that's just like, hey, I'm out somewhere different eating. This is a nice meal. Right. Put it in, tag the place, or when I go for my walks at night.
Yeah.
You know, that and that's funny because that actually gets quite a lot of response as well.
Right.
And to me, that's just an accountability thing. It's like, I need to go for my night walk. If I go and I take a photo, I've been accountable for it.
You set example for your clients and stuff as well.
Yeah. You're not like me and Jace, just keep a whole 3,000 photos in the album going, training hard today. It was taken in 2017.
Pull up this. How come you didn't have a beard yesterday? Got a beard today.
Bro, let me ask you the same question because, again, I think the counts is very similar. Like, surely you've been through a phase as well where likes mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah?
For sure. I'm trying to think when likes kicked off. Was that a Facebook thing? So it was Facebook first, right? So you would like a picture on Facebook.
Yeah, but it wouldn't give you a count, would it? Oh, no, it would. It would.
No, you used to have a count there, and then Instagram popped up, and then it just became a more visual platform, right? So it was purely imagery. Yeah, I mean, I did go through a phase, coming through, my earlier years, when I was first quite body conscious. I was trying to, get lean, get jacked, look stacked, all of the above. That's when I'd really care about the likes. Obviously, I think when I was single, I think I cared about it more as well. You were kind of seeing who was engaging with your content. Maybe that was an icebreaker into another conversation.
And I think people get that wrong too. Is to me, a like isn't engaging with your content.
Wait, don't touch it now. Don't touch it.
We'll open this can shortly.
In a second.
Don't
touch it now. That's a different. We're going there. But yeah, anyway, go on.
Yeah. So I mean, without going down that pathway, I think you would get a lot of personal confidence or validation from someone liking your posts, or typically I would notice a huge increase in likes when it was something generally involved more skin showing. So a shirtless picture would always get more traction or likes than something that would be another picture. Actually, dogs as well. Dogs and shirtless pictures will get likes.
That's why he walks his dogs with no shirt on.
Just a tip for you. I'll do both, and you're even going to skyrocket, mate. Hold your dog with lids off. Anyway, so yeah, definitely I was chop and change with what I was looking for from Insta.
That was very strategic by you. Girls like dogs, girls like shirt off.
That's all you need. Standing by the beach.
Strategic. Sabina, tell me about your relationship with the whole photos and likes thing. Has it affected you? Has it determined what content you put up? And do you overthink content before you put it up because you may not get a certain response from it?
Yeah, it's always been a really, really deep inner fight for me, to be honest, because as a female PT, and also in the fitness industry that long, I never really wanted to get attention with my look. I always felt like I was a high achiever, and I wanted to get attention with my performance, with my knowledge and other stuff. And I kind of struggle with that sometimes a lot. I question myself, do people really like me because the way I look, how is my body, or they actually like me as a person, or they really appreciate my knowledge and the service I deliver. Especially as a fencing coach as well, I am kind of a lonely person on the field because there are so many male fencing coach out there.
But even in Dubai, like we were talking before, it's a very niche. How many other fences do you know?
No.
Well, we only know one now.
Absolutely.
And imagine a blondie fencing coach, right?
Yeah. So you're in a male dominant space, male dominant industry. You don't want to use your body and your looks. You want to use your more knowledge base and what you've done as a performance key to to sell your identity, right?
Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong. I really like when people compliment my look, whatever, and I work hard for it to look the certain way. And I think it's important to represent yourself in a certain way. But also, I get a bit like upset when people kind of starting to look at me on a different way. They don't appreciate the athlete behind the hard work.
Right.
They kind of just look at me as a
object.
And an object, right? Yeah, that's correct.
Just a quick question: do you follow any other fencers, female fencers, that do go that way and use their looks on social media? Like that will do photos more, like photo shoots more along that line of, I look at how I look and do sort of those more visual aspect looking photos rather than them fencing? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, the funny thing is, back in a time when I was competing like worldwide, it wasn't really like about the look. Fencing was like, yeah, we all been covered, we were wearing the mask. It's not like the sexiest sport you can do as a female. But it's actually because of social media, it started to go that way down as well. Like
using the sex sells.
Exactly. So like really famous athletes now, they're starting to have like sexy picture in the fencing gear somehow, just maybe having a sword and naked pictures, even just maybe covering themselves with a mask or something, and it's starting to going down on that road as well.
You've seen like Sports Illustrated in America, every year the Olympics is, and even still now as a paperback, they get the Olympians and they do this artistic shoot, which, I mean, look, it's tasteful, very cool. It is very cool to see. But yes, again, they're going down the line of let's enjoy their bodies rather than what they've done on the fucking field. Or
have you ever thought that you've had to felt a bit of pressure to go that way to maybe get a bit more traction for your profile or for your business, or it maybe even just thought, should I do that? Or
yeah, I definitely did, and
that's hard.
Yeah, people even advised me to do that. Even back in the time, one of my older coach, he said to me, "Yeah, we're gonna send you because obviously you look good, and people like that." And it's kind of like hard for me because like I always worked so hard to become who I am and worked so hard to achieve something, and when people go down on that road like, yeah, but you're good looking and your blondie would fit in that place, and so but I did consider it, to be honest, because that's get more attention than just in fully covered and giving a lesson in a mask.
I still think you can get nice photos done without having to stand there with a sword in a bikini. You know what I mean?
Look, don't get me wrong.
To bring across your, like you said, when you got two fencers fencing, they've got masks when they're fully covered, you wouldn't know
who is that underneath the mask.
If you did a nice photo shoot still in your gear, but just without your mask on, which I think you do have a few photos like that, just so that you have this identity to go with the person that's got a mask on. You know what I mean?
He does our homework. He's a good researcher.
On the other side, I would say it's also very important. Like, I really want to represent something like, yes, achievement is really important, hard work is really important, but also like being feminine and feeling sexy, especially in a male-dominant sport, is also really important. So I want female to feel comfortable and good in their body.
It's that fine line you're balancing.
Exactly.
I don't want any of our listeners to get it wrong either. Like, there is nothing. This is a conversation. Like, it's no right or wrong on either side of the fence. Like, people will do what they will do, and we're just talking about how this can affect behavioural traits, right? So let's go into what we were going to touch on. So let's start on this side again, is that does a like mean